Thank you, Ashwin. I hope you all are safe and sound and either vaccinated or on your way to getting vaccinated. Your families are safe. Um, Safety is of prime importance in these trying times when we are trying to emerge victorious. But more importantly, let's talk about three of the core subjects which I've been asked to speak. So first, let me thank Shruti. First, let me thank the entire team of Grey Media. And more importantly, it's a very strong initiative where people evangelize thoughts. Thoughts turn into conversations. Conversations turn into manifesto, thing which is questioned, and change is anything which augments value in human life, which augments a huge amount of positivity in human life, and for the betterment. So when human civilizations are faced with wars, with pandemics, there is obvious reasons for how humanity survives, and humanity has survived the biggest of challenges the planet has seen. The last 2 years has either people call it an opportunity for tech innovators, inventors, countries who want to make a change management in their psyche, in their thought process. So how does change actually impact our lives? Change could be as simple as getting a set of medicines at your doorstep, getting an RT-PCR done at your doorstep, going across downstairs or on near your lifts, picking up your grocery. Change could be a lifestyle change, which digital and technology and infrastructural change. Change could be human psyche, which are enabled and triggered by instruments of technology, instruments of operating models, and thoughts. So let's define the number of changes globally, universally, which people have adopted. Change number 1, the change in the way we commute and lead our lifestyle without any compromise. In the middle class of this country and across the world, what does that mean? That means in a lockdown, which is impacted by COVID-19, where a family of 2, family of 3, a family of 4, or a family greater than 4 across the world is not able to vocalize with a societal framework. When I say vocalize, I mean you cannot communicate physically within the structures and the defined framework of societal mobility. I can't go downstairs and do my grocery shopping. I can't roam around inhibition-free, thinking that I can touch anything. I cannot navigate in a semi-crowded place, not being paranoid that I might be susceptible. I means me, my first family, my first network of friends and family, and my network, my third network, which is friends, family, and acquaintances. So that is change, pure change. Now, during the last 2 years of lockdown, if human civilization and India had to deal with it, technology played a big part, especially in the tier 1, tier 2 cities, tier 3 adopted, tier 4 hungry for adoption. smartphone kind of, and the internet kind of bailed us. It's a very strong word, but I will evangelize this. The smartphone and the internet bailed us. Let's acknowledge, let's give due to what they have benefited human mankind. When the relaxation of the first lockdown was about to happen, by that time, we had changed our mindset, our physical behavior on how I eat, how I shop, how I have my medicines, how my health checkup happens, how my travel. So there were restrictions. So boundary restrictions, territorial restrictions, national restrictions, international restrictions. The skies were closed, the roads were restricted. How did human mankind deal with it? We dealt with technology, internet, and governing ourselves as good citizens of this world by following a norm, decorum, after an unsettling period of understanding the confusion of the new life. Online played the backbone of urban middle class across every country. Technology on your palms, on your desks, on your laps, changed the way we kind of entertained ourselves. What did it impact? The OTT world spiked. Online gaming world spiked. Online entertainment and music spiked. Online shopping of pharmaceuticals, grocery, daily essentials spiked. And when the relaxation was in full flow, when COVID-19 social distancing norms were still followed, a beautiful set of innovations has started to emerge. What were these beautiful set of innovations? We craved for a fabulous meal. 90 minus 90 days of relaxation. Slowly cloud curtains started to emerge. My parents, my ailing friends and family with regulated medicines started to come at our doorsteps. Certain online institutional e-commerce businesses spiked. How do I kill time? Because the reason for my living has become living room, bedroom, living room, bathroom. It was a very monotonous life for days. My only ways and means of entertainment became either watching something, reading something, listening to something, whether it be music, whether it be podcasts, whether it be audiobooks, whether it be continuous streaming. So a set of industries spiked, a set of individuals became super busy, and the people who were sitting on the fence, who were aversive to the smartphone and internet and whose life revolved around a physical capability, started adopting change. In the physical manufacturing world, factories had to commence again. It commenced with social distancing norms, but as much as digitization possible, certain industries did. So the remote switching and switching off of plant lines without being close to each other, communicating through voice boxes, through the capabilities within the same infrastructure using online became a new normal. The first scare which we saw in Italy, US, India, going to the hospital and getting more contaminated or infected invented, and innovated the world of healthcare. Remote video consultation, online doorstep collection of samples of blood samples. Then the doctor gets it. Then you meet the doctor virtually and he analyzes your healthcare and your reports. And he gives a virtual prescription that goes straight away to your local pharmacy, which gets delivered. So an ecosystem started to emerge in healthcare, which is kind of pivoting. E-commerce was always pivoting in India pre-pandemic, but that's just retail. Grocery and pharmacy became the way our lives revolved around. The normal guy who would come and drop the newspaper at your doorstep, the coconut and the milk at your doorstep, were not allowed to come. So what did the e-commerce companies do? They started putting a mesh topology network of hyper-local mobilized drivers and riders. What did they do? They invented continuously every day and created dark warehouses, transshipment hubs, created manifold warehouses so that your milk and eggs, your bananas, your paracetamols, your B-complex capsules, your vitamins are delivered to your doorsteps. Augment that with serious ailments in your family which got addressed by this network. Now let's talk about the world which we lived between the first lockdown and the second lockdown, which almost killed India's backbone and the rest of the world's, where relaxation did happen. What did we notice? We could go to a restaurant, sit with a social distancing set of norms and rules, and could scan using any smartphone the menu of the restaurants, or you could pre-book the menu, still enjoy a good meal with your family without the worry and the scare factor of being touched. Yes, the cinemas did try their best. Economy in entertainment industry was rock bottom. So what did we introduce? A good innovation, 30% occupancy. Saw some adoption. But the beauty of all of these innovations, and there's a set of innovations which has come during the second lockdown, which I'm going to talk in a minute. The beauty of all of these innovations can be divided into two parts. One, it can be permanency. So certain invention, advention, and innovation are here to stay. And certain ones were temporarily, which served its purpose, will perish. So let's talk about the invention and innovation and change of what is here to stay and what is here to go. A mask and a PPE kit being booked and given by an airline is here to stay. It's a good norm. You don't like people breathing 6 inches from you. It's not very hygienic in a non-pandemic normal world. Some of us used to get a bit of an awkwardness. Whether it's the ration dukan or the passport office, or the rail stations, or at the airport. There's no harm in wearing a shield and a mask, whether we have emerged victorious post-COVID-19. Good innovations, great innovations might actually benefit mankind. Even if the pandemic goes away, pollution in the rest of the planet affected by climate change and global warming is still not going away. Eccentricity of heat, smog is across the planet. Forest fires, it's a great innovation to wear masks. Great innovation to wear our social distancing norm. Where did technology play? Technology played the role of seat occupancy in a train or in a plane. You couldn't book tickets next to each other, or you had to buy tickets. You couldn't have the option to buy 2 tickets for yourselves. So does it goes for ride hailing, trains, buses, everywhere. Even if the world normalizes, I think it's a great innovation. We should genuinely think of that in congested cities like Jakarta, congested cities like Mumbai, congested cities of the planet, which requires that innovation to stay. Infrastructurally, it's a blessing in disguise. So these are the good changes, good innovations. What will go away? Yes, the restrictions of travel. Skies would open up. It's already opening up. Mobility will open up. There's no red, green, blue, yellow passes. And on all the passes the world has invented to control a flurry of people together. What we saw in a few cities was not healthy, was not good governance. Not only in India, across the world. Now let's talk about the lockdown too. What inventions did lockdown 2 throw up, especially in India, which broke India's backbone almost? So what were the problem statements? There were 3 major problem statements. First problem statement, lack of oxygen. Second problem statement, lack of beds. Third problem statement, lack of oxygenators. The fourth problem statement, healthcare infrastructure of a country which is 142 crores of people, or 1.4 billion. Nobody could thought or think that a steel company which produces 100 metric tons of oxygen could generate 800, 900,000 metric tons. Nobody could think a hospital, a world-class hospital can be made in 2 weeks flat out of open space, and it's here to stay. Nobody could imagine stadiums can be converted into temporary hospitals. It's not that the stadiums will remain converted, it's the mobilization and the agility and the velocity in the innovation which is to be applauded. Tomorrow, the world can face another very different sort of a crisis. But we have to save each other. But you know, the biggest invention, and it is non-technology, it's non-digital. It's standing next to each other. The world had become fragmented. The world had become insulated into 6 inches to 24 inches screens. 4-year-old to a 70-year-old was communicating with their own family from 2 rooms, 4 or 5 feet away from each other. Technology had played a reversal role. The biggest invention pandemic has taught us is work together to create unfathomable collaboration to achieve and defeat a world-killing pandemic just on the human spirit. The human spirit innovated themselves. It always has, it always will be, because human beings are the smartest people on the planet. We could send a rocket to Mars, or we could make humanoids dance. We could invent 1,000 percentile of neurons and do predictive, projective, preventive, algorithmic intelligence, which is intelligent and artificial. But the human network, the human brain cell, communicating with millions of folks at the same emotion and passion, trying to save thousands of people, was the greatest invention, innovation 2.0 of the human spirit in the last 100 years. From human spirit, let me talk about the last leg. From autumn 2021, where are we headed? We all say, post a war, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We all said in 1928, when that pandemic was getting over, there is light at the end of the tunnel. But what is light at the end of the tunnel? Whether it's war, whether it's pandemic, whether it's global warming impacting millions and millions of acres of land, the silver lining is always defined by an economic boom. What is an economic boom? It's not a short spike. I'll define it in 5 steps. Step 1, people have saved money. They will invest in commodities. People have not traveled or not flown or taken a train. They will. Fair amount of wealth has become a repository in every working professional's lives, whether it's in the urban cities, whether it's in the towns, whether it's in our villages. India's villages, all of them are not poor, coming out of the poverty line on a regular yearly out basis. Where is the story of farmer suicides during the last 2 years when they were supposed to be? They were working and making us consume. So trade will flourish. Border agnostic trade will flourish. Number 4, entertainment and sports created a new design of how to conduct themselves without burning too much of advertising money. So ethical usage of advertising money will make the marketeers invent continuously. Last, which is the most important thing, is the scary part of this economic boom. A secured technological planet. The pandemic, human mind works in very many ways. Young brains work in very many ways. People hack for the fun of hacking. Hackers are not somebody with a hood in a dark room like it's shown in Hollywood motion pictures. It is next door, your neighbor's son. He's a 14-year-old genius on JSON and Python and primarily network denting brain. Gamer by hobby. Quantify it into millions of that age group, spanning out to 25, 27. across countries like Southeast Asia, Indonesia, China, Russia, India. Hacking is a hobby. To them, it's fun. Yes, there are serious hackers trying to break the backbone of defenses across the world, but they are well paid. These kids are not well paid. These kids are doing it for fun, to show off. But a bad network or a bad code creeping in can make your online electricity servers go away. So what pandemic did was it spiked up the emergence of hacking, whether it's data, whether it's the social media profiles, a lot of phishing. So what did the other side do? The other side invented continuously in the last 18, 20 months, the ethical hacking community, the ethical security community, guarding and being the Victorian guards of our fortresses, of our networks, across the cities, across towns, across countries, protecting the optical fiber, protecting the radio frequency of towers, protecting the last leg of your broadband provider. Every banking site, every banking app, every social media app, every online email client introduces mandatory two-factor authentication as hygiene, biometrics authentication. The amount of invention which the last 2 years have seen in security front, physical infrastructure security, digital security powered, technology and online security has been next to none. Because the processing of compute is so high that the vulnerability creeps in with usage. And these youngsters, they break it for their living. But the ethical community just pivoted, I must say. All security agencies, companies. As part of the change in infrastructure, the naysayers would say real estate was down, hotel industry was down, holiday industry was down, travel was down. It was down for a reason. Nobody wants to buy a house when there is a global pandemic. Patience has been humans' favorite and most disliked virtue. The boom is on its way. The boom will be so high, you will be failing to meet the demands. So are you guys going to be ready? I'm sure you are, but the best part is that the boom is on its way. You can take a measured approach. You can take a proactive approach in a much robust business framework which you want to push forward. You can take a very conservative approach and plan your GTMs. But what you can't do is sit idle and think that question the boom is not going to happen. It's default. It's human third nature. If you've saved up, you will spend. Let me finish on the last thought of my personal way I have been able to conduct thousands and thousands of techies, business leaders across my group, across beyond my group, across the world. There is a very strong way you can think about it. Those who love Steve Jobs loves his quotes. I have a very favorite new one of mine, which it's not actually mine, I've just actually picked up from a few folks. They're saying, be inspired. We were never becoming inspired. We have become very insular. It's never short to remain inspired. Be inspired by normal, mundane innovations of life. Be velocity driven. Speed is of essence in today's day and age, but the quality of what your deliverables would be, speed would be number two. Be velocity driven. Number three, be numb and absorb. When the world gets hit, the first realization every human being had to be a better version of themselves. So being numb and absorb means your brain will think, what is your next step? On that note, you guys have a great conference. Enjoy the rest of the sessions. Be engaged. Interact a lot. This would have been phenomenal, and hopefully this would happen in person in the next year. Engage. Ask difficult questions with a graceful smile and a respect for that individual. Ask those awkward questions. Answer those awkward questions. Be fearless, but be dignified and be respectful of each other. On that note, thank you, everyone. Be safe, remain healthy, and hope to engage again with you also.